Hey guys, welcome to this video where we are going to look into the Ahrefs Site Explorer. Now the Site Explorer in Ahrefs is the traditional or the more old version of the product that is essentially a link index. So it compares with Moz, it compares with Majestic SEO, and it has a lot of information about a lot of domains link data. And rather than running through the features and showing you everything that there is inside, which I just did 2 minutes ago and took half an hour and was extremely boring, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a real life case study. And a real life case study is, in my case, for Authority Hacker, I have been spotting a competitor that has been growing pretty well, and I want to know, what he's doing that's working well and how the Site Explorer can help me understand what he's doing. And that competitor here is going to be Niche Hacks. Nichehacks.com is a pretty good site by my friend Stuart Walker, who blogs about more or less the same topics that we do on Authority Hacker. And I have been having my eye on him for a while, and he has been doing pretty well. So I want to learn from him so that I can, tweak my strategy and do things differently in terms of emulating his growth. So if I actually looked at his site, overall I can see that he's posting quite regularly: September 28, September 25, September 24, 22, compared to us where we post a couple times a month, like September 22, August 26, August 17, July. So he basically posts something like 6 or 7 times more than us right now. However, he has quite a bit less engagement. Let me just get back to his site. So if I look, he has like 16 comments, and maybe let's look at the average number of shares he has, but usually it's a bit less. So let's just check it out. He has 199 shares. Now on Authority Hacker, we pretty much consistently get over 200 shares. The last one we got, the last post we had, has 291 shares at this point. So yeah, overall we get more engagement, but I suspect he gets a little bit more traffic. So the first thing we need to do in Ahrefs actually is to go in the lab, and I like to do a domain comparison to get a bird's eye view of where he's winning, where I'm winning. So I like to do authorityhacker.com, nichehacks.com. And what Ahrefs is going to do is it's going to take all the metrics like the backlinks, the shares, etc., and basically see which domain is winning here. And you can see in domain rating, which is Ahrefs' version of the PageRank or the domain authority if you're used to the Moz metrics, he's winning by a point, so it's not a lot. These social metrics actually in Ahrefs I don't think are very accurate, because it's actually showing the number of shares of the homepage, but like my homepage doesn't get shared that much. It's really more about the content, whereas apparently he actually gets his homepage shared a lot. But like Google Plus, for example, we got shared a lot on Google Plus for some reason. However, the link, the referring domains and the link metrics are pretty interesting. So he has 459 linking root domain, and I have 250. So he has almost double the amount of linking root domains that we have. And even in terms of referring pages, which is the number of pages that link to him, he has 3.5 times more links than us. That's quite a lot. So I would expect that he gets more SEO traffic for 2 reasons. He has more backlinks, and he posts more often. If we go back, you can see he posts 6 to 7 times more than us. So one of the things that seem to be working for him is posting a lot and posting very regularly. Now if we actually dive down into that, you can see that the amount of text link is about the same, 99%, 100%. But this one is interesting: Nofollow link versus dofollow links. Now, Nofollow links are essentially links that do not pass PageRank, that are not supposed to help in Google. I suspect they help a little, but I don't have data to prove that. But what's interesting is like most of our links are dofollow, so they actually count for search engines. 66% are, whereas for him, only 29% are, which means that a lot of the links he has, despite the fact that he has much stronger link metrics, are actually no-follow links that hopefully should not help too much in search engines. So actually, despite the fact that we see that he has like way more links, actually we're pretty close in terms of do-follow links, i.e. links that should count for search rankings. So it's actually not a completely lost match, and we, I think, have a little chance of competing if we do things right. Now what I like to do as well is I like to check this referring domain graph. So you can see that he started before us actually. Like you can see, we started like in 2014. He started in 2013. So he basically has something like 8 or 9 months advance on us. But you can see that we're pretty close in terms of growth of referring domains. If my curve was on top of his, it would roughly follow each other. So really, he has this time, but if I want to catch up with him, I'm gonna have to make up for that difference here, which at this point is, like 200 domains or something. But given the fact that 2/3 of them are nofollow, really, we're talking 60 linking root domains for follow links. So if I was able to, catch up 60 links, so keep my growth plus get 60 more, then I would basically be able to catch up with his level of authority. So that's the idea. That gives me an idea of like the numbers I need to achieve in terms of, okay, how do I catch up with that size? 60 linking root domains with do follow links, and I should be there more or less. Now let's just jump a little bit in the Site Explorer and look a little bit deeper into what kind of links he has, so that I can get an idea of the kind of links I should be trying to get, or maybe the stuff that I haven't done and he has done, and so on. And you can see that when we go into Site Explorer, there is a lot of data here. So you can see that there is the Ahrefs rank, and the Ahrefs rank is essentially a metric that Ahrefs has that gives you an idea of where you are across all the sites that they have indexed. So like there are like billions of sites on the internet, and it gives you your position essentially. And niche hacks is 720,000. I know for a fact that Authority Hacker is around 1 million. So we have something like 200,000 sites to beat before we actually get to beat him. So that's interesting. But what's interesting is that actually, if we look at the metrics here, he's actually going up and down quite a bit. Like he has been going up and going down, etc. Whereas if I actually, let me just open a new tab with Authority Hacker so that we can compare it. So if we actually check mine, you can see that mine is always going up basically, but I'm still lower than him quite a bit. Now, if we look at the referring pages, you can see that overall, it's growing. The yellow line is what I'm looking at. The blue line is not that interesting because it's just like, it's basically the number of referring pages, but sometimes, when people post on their post, your link is going to be on their tag page, it's going to be on the category page, etc. Then it falls down in the archive, which essentially means that there is this drop here, which doesn't mean it's bad. Really, what you're looking at is the yellow line. So he's growing at, a pace of like 2-3 links a day, whereas for us, we're growing at a pace of something pretty similar, 2 to 3 links a day. Then what I can do is I can actually look at his earned links versus lost referring domains. So basically what you're looking at here is you're looking at am I getting more links than I'm losing? And that's the case because it's a different representation of that curve. So we're both around the same. Now, organic traffic is an interesting one. It's not 100% accurate. For example, on our other site, Health Ambition, the truth is, Ahrefs, for example, will tell you we're losing traffic. The truth is actually it's stable. So you need to be a little bit careful in terms of what you read here. It's not absolutely true, but that's the best guess that Ahrefs can get. And Ahrefs basically is telling me that niche hack's stable, but the traffic index is around like 3070. And this is not the number of visits per day either. This is just a random number that Ahrefs uses. I know for a fact that if you look at Authority Hacker, it says we're at like 3,552 right now. We don't get nearly as much traffic from Google every day. I wish. But we get 700 to 800 a day. So that's not that. But what's interesting is that you can compare these numbers, right? So we are around 3,500. He is around between 5,000 and 3,720. So we're actually pretty close in terms of raw traffic, even though he has a little bit more authority. Maybe we do a little bit better job at our keyword research and, we get a better hit rate for our content. And as a result, we are able to pull almost as much traffic as him, which is a good idea. But still, if I was able to get his authority, then that would be a pretty good thing to have, actually. And the next part is probably one of my favorite parts. And I talk quite a bit about it in the Content Explorer video. So if you haven't read the full review, if you're on YouTube right now or something, there is other videos that teach you how to use Ahrefs. And I'm going to talk about this one. But basically, this allows you to see the top content of a domain. So I can see the number of linking root domains, I can see the number of shares across social networks, and so on. So it's pretty interesting to see the best content for them in terms of links, not in terms of traffic. It's quite important. So for example, how to pick a profitable niche and blog for a living. 56 experts share their secret. A roundup, an expert roundup got hit 22 links. So if I was doing a roundup and maybe like talking to the same people he has been talking to, maybe I'd be able to get some of these links as well and actually emulate some of his authority. Remember, I need 60 links in total, right? So if I get even half of that, it's like I get over like 13% of the links I need for me to catch up. So that's a pretty interesting piece of content. And basically he's just been doing a classic expert roundup here where he has been interviewing these people, linking out to them, then asked them to share it, and it's been working pretty well for him. Given the fact that we saw he gets on average 100 shares per piece of content here, he is almost at 800. That's a great piece of content. Now the question is the topic what got him successful, or is the experts what got him successful? And that's something that you're probably just gonna have to wing and try to understand. Same here, he did a second expert roundup, learn how 44 experts use Facebook ads to drive traffic to their blogs, and he got another 14 linking root domains. So one thing that I could learn if I am not doing them, and I'm not doing them actually, is that expert roundups work. They work, and they get a lot of shares, they get a lot of links, and it works pretty well. So if I was trying to learn something from Stuart here, is that his top content is always an expert roundup post. So if I had to tweak my strategy based on what I learned here, based on the Ahrefs data, is that, given my current strategy, I already have as much growth as him, and I know his fastest growth pieces are expert roundups. So if I start doing expert roundups, then I should be able to start bridging that gap and catching up with his authority. Now, if I keep going, I could basically discover new things, like for example, 31 ways to promote your blog post and get blog traffic. Blog traffic is a hot topic, so I probably should just write about that. List post work, and it worked really well for him. 38 linking root domains. That's probably his highest linked to piece. Now I would just click through to check, the quality of the post and whether I can top that up or not. And well, it's basically a list post. If I went really nuts, I could probably top that up. He got a lot of shares as well. He got 120 comments. So yeah, if I want to emulate his growth, it's like, well, here's the kind of content I should be creating. Now, in terms of anchor text, I know Stuart is a white hat guy, but if you have a competitor that uses, gray hat SEO, PBNs, that kind of stuff, when you check the anchor cloud, it's usually a good way to figure out if they're cheating with Google. So if they have a lot of like commercial keywords as anchor text, which a lot of people using PBNs do, then you would spot that right away here. And as a result, you'll be able to say, okay, this guy uses PBNs, let's dive into their link profile. And that's actually what I'm gonna do, even though Stuart is not using PBNs. I'm just gonna go and dive into his link profile. So you can see that, well, this page was pretty full of information, but there is more, a lot more inside Ahrefs. So my favorite view by far is the links page. And I'm gonna go into that, and we're gonna be doing a bunch of filtering, because the truth is, if you just look into someone's link profile, it's a bit of a mess. I mean, there's 4,896 links. Going through like this and browsing would not be a good idea, which is why I like Ahrefs, because I can filter down. So the first thing I want to do is, I just want to pick the most authoritative link for every single domain, so that I will be able to get a better idea without having to go super crazy on checking stuff out. And you have this option here where it's like one backlink per domain, and as soon as I clicked it, we went from almost 5,000 links to 500. Well, that's a little bit more manageable. Now, if we remember from our analysis earlier, we know that Stuart has a lot of nofollow links, and we're not going to really focus on trying to build these kind of links. Nofollow links, they do help a little bit, but it's not the kind of links I want to focus on a lot. But basically, I can see that he comments a lot. He drops a lot of blog comments on Quicksprout, on Unbounce, on Niche Pursuits, and all these places. So basically, if I wanted to emulate these kind of links, I would just need to find all these sites he comments on, put the RSS feed in my RSS reader, something like Feedly or something, and then I would be able to like emulate these nofollow links. But really, that's not what I'm interested in right now. That's a pretty easy tactic. So let's go and check his dofollow link, and from 5,000 links we're down to 300 links, and all of them are from different domains. So like, this is gold. This information is gold, because I mean, first of all, now Ahrefs actually tells you the kind of links that these sites have, and it's like, it actually tells you like, oh, you can drop a comment here. Oh, this is a WordPress link. If it's a WordPress link, it's probably editorial. Oh, Kikolani blog promotion tips. Let's check it out. And then if I check it out, that's basically an expert roundup he got featured in. If I just comment F Stewart, he actually wasn't featured in. He actually just dropped a blog comment, but for some reason his blog link is dofollow, because apparently this site is using a blog plugin that allows you to drop a dofollow link to your post in your comment. And that's a pretty easy way to build links, if you ask me. I would probably not run that on my site, but if that site is quality and they actually filter their comments, then that's probably something that I would be looking at if I wanted to catch up in terms of his links. So you can see in like 2 seconds, we literally uncovered a great link opportunity. That's a domain rating 57. That's a highly shared page. It's not bad to have a link on that page. Well, I just need to go and comment there. Then he got a link on HubSpot. Well, his link on HubSpot, I don't think it's a comment link. I think he just got an editorial link. This one is pretty hard for me to get, so I'm just gonna skip it. But then you can see like all these WordPress tags are essentially blogs, and all I would need to do is I would need to figure out if I can do a guest post, or if these people do a roundup or that kind of stuff, and I would be able to go and copy these links essentially. So Matthew Woodward, for example, I know for a fact he takes guest posts right for me. You know, he has had links here once again in a roundup, and I would be able to drop a guest post, or I would try to look for the person that created that roundup. And I actually happen to know that person. There is a person in that niche that just keeps doing roundups for other people, and so if you actually get to know that person, it's very easy for you to actually get dropped in these roundups. So I can see that getting into roundups is a good idea. And then I could just basically keep checking what they do. Now, one last thing I want to show you in the Ahrefs checker, because this video is running pretty long already, but the truth is analysis takes time. One thing I want to show you is the top pages and the top grossing pages. So top pages is essentially an extension of what we saw earlier in the view, where I can literally run down all his content and see how many links they got. So I can see that, you know, for example, this blog promotion tips got 38 backlinks. So if I was to create something similar, I know I could outreach to these people. I know I could also outreach to anyone that ranks for that, etc. And so that's a very easy way to brainstorm content and then get the links that they got. And finally, the grossing pages is a pretty good complementary tool, that shows you the changes in referring domain in the last 7 days and 30 days. So it allows you to see what is hot on his site. So I would be able to say, okay, so you know, this site doesn't have a lot of backlinks, but it's getting a lot of backlinks recently. That's a new post, and it got 3 links like in the last week. So where is that? What kind of links did it get? Let me actually put this single page inside the Site Explorer, because you can actually put single pages, and I'd be able to look at the links he's got literally in the last few days, so that I have an opportunity to go and run after these links. So you can see, so he's got 12 links. Let's just check the dofollow links. That's mostly this site basically. So I can see that it's probably, it's just a site where you can submit your story, where he got a link from. So hey, I just discovered a new site where I can submit my story and get links from and get referral traffic from, etc. So that's basically how you use the Ahrefs Site Explorer. It's really powerful if you actually take the time to use it and take the time to, actually take action on the information you get. So like getting this information about niche hacks was very useful, but now I need to act on it. I need to start creating expert roundups. I need to drop comments on these places where I can drop comments. I need to get into these expert roundups and all these things. So I've figured out a lot of tactics that I could use to grow my site just by looking at my competitor. And that was just one competitor. I could look at many, many, many more competitors and get a ton of data, a ton of tactics, and then put together a very sound strategy where I'd be able to then get back to Ahrefs and execute on this and get these backlinks, catch up on authority, grow my traffic. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that was actionable and that gave you a lot of ideas on how to use Ahrefs. It takes a bit of time, it takes a bit of used to, and it takes a little bit of experience of doing it. But the truth is, if you don't start, you will never have that experience. So if you liked it, I recommend you check out Ahrefs. I recommend you check out the full review I've written on authorityhacker.com/Ahrefs-review. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.